This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey everybody, Carm Capriotto, Remarkable Results Town Hall Academy is getting near the end of the year, and I decided to have a topic here that I think is going to be profound. Again, another great session to add to the incredibly growing content library, over 1,000 episodes just for Remarkable Results Radio. Town Hall Academy, we're talking about moving from a repair shop to a professional auto service center. And if you don't think that there's a difference, wait till you hear this episode. Thanks so much to our great partners. Hey, are you going to the Institute Summit, February 2025? Well, if you want a top-tier event and destination, you found it. The Institute Summit. Connect with your peers, explore innovation, and increase your knowledge. Nothing like it. Speakers such as Dan Clark, Dr. Jessica Kriegel, Ross Bernstein, and some of our industry's top presenters and speakers will be there. There will also be lightning talks and time with exhibitors. February 6th through the 9th, 2025, at the beautiful Omni Resort, Amelia Island, Florida. Great time to be in Florida. We are theinstitute.com/summit. February 6th through the 9th, 2025. I hope to see you there. Did you know that NAPA Tracks has on-site training plus 6-day-a-week support? Well, it all starts when a local rep meets with you to learn about your business and how you run it so they can make it work on NAPA Tracks. They're on the web at napatracs.com. And AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching will help you shift your gears and redefine success. Imagine your business not just meeting, but exceeding every goal. AutoshopCoaching.com. Talk to Chris. And are you ready to optimize training with today's class? Roll out a training plan for your automotive shop in just 5 minutes every day. Boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Cecil Bullard is here, the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence, the CEO at wearetheinstitute.com. Cecil, Tracy and I are going to be down at the summit. How exciting. The summit, Amelia Island, right there near Jacksonville. Another great, it's been 2 years, right?
Yep, early February.
I saw the schedule, what you're planning, the speeches, all the seminars, all the great sponsors. It's going to be a wonderful thing. Congrats on doing it again and getting all that knowledge transfer going. Dave Schedin is here, coach and mentor at CompuTrek Automotive Solutions at CompuTrekSystems.com. Hey, Dave.
Hey, great to be here, Carmen. I love the end of the year, and I love this topic we're going to talk on. And, listeners, if you're listening, tune in. Let the background noise be the background noise. Tune in, because I believe there are significant breakthroughs that will happen just from this session alone.
I know, Dave. I'm so overly confident like you are in what's going to happen here today. Vic Tarasik is here, shop owner coach. Vic at shopownercoach.com, at shopownercoach.com. Hey, Vic, how are you, man?
Hey, Carm, I'm doing great, even though we had a Bills loss last weekend. Sunday's coming. We're going to beat the Lions.
Former Buffalonian, and we always say go Bills whenever we see each other. So, look, here's a great topic, moving from a repair shop to a professional auto service center. Did you ever wonder how you could grow bigger, better, stronger profits? How to attract, maybe even retain people, how to bring in new customers, run a more efficient business, find the time of the day to get everything done, become the CEO instead of the chief everything officer, and just how to let go and maybe let your people do it. Trust me, these three experts, coaches, consultants in our industry know how to do it, and you just have to let them in. It's just, you hired me, but you got to let me in. You got to let me be part of this thing. Am I right, Cecil?
Absolutely. You got to want something more for yourself, for your people, for your team, for your life, and for the industry, I think. It's time for us to be the professionals that we are. Just a really brief little story. I was watching something the other day, and a guy comes on and he says, if you think paying $300 for 15 minutes is ridiculous, you need to listen. I was like, okay, I'll listen. And he said, I was talking to somebody, I've got 3 technicians, I've got 3 trucks, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I've got that. I got $1 million in business. And I guess in the industry that he's in, they only have 55% billable time. He says, so with that billable time, I've got to be a minimum of $300 an hour to pay the $1 million in expenses I have this year. And if I want to make a profit, I have to be $500 an hour. And I thought to myself, wow, right? I think we as an industry, we need to stop thinking of ourselves in terms of even like hourly and et cetera. And we need to think about what we should be, what we need to be, what the industry needs to be as we grow forward and move into the 2025, 2026, 2027. We're not seen as professionals mainly because many of us are not, and many of us don't see ourselves as professionals.
It's almost like exactly what this discussion needs to be about. The minute you said $500 an hour, I thought of a dentist. I did.
Why not? Because frankly, when I was growing up, if you really want to make money, you're going to be a dentist or you're going to be a doctor, brain surgeon, whatever. And so you're going to go to school and you're going to get 8 years of school and you're going to get another 8 in your apprenticeship, blah, blah, blah. When you go to med school or you do your, what they call it, the internship and all of that. And these guys that are working on these cars today, they've got that education and more.
Yes, they do. And I think part of the discussion here is moving from a repair shop to a professional auto service center. We have to accept that we're professional. We'll sit in the dentist chair, pay some pretty big bucks to have either the routine maintenance done or a procedure, not think twice about it. Why? We trust the professionalism of the organization, and the word trust and professionalism right there together, and that they have the knowledge and they're staying up with the most current trends. They've got, it's not, you don't take an impression anymore. You do digital. It's all digital.
You can't go down the street to the guy working out of his house and go in his garage and have your teeth fixed. They have an association. You have to be a part of dental association. You have to be a part of the American Medical Association. You have to be a part of the Bar Association. You can't practice if you don't meet those standards. And yet in the automotive, anybody can be whatever. And even online, it drives me nuts. I got a guy online talking about, so-and-so is ripping off so-and-so because they charged them, $120 an hour. You're kidding me, right? We don't even see ourselves as worth $120 an hour as an industry. And how am I going to pay a tech $60, $70 an hour and get a good tech and pay for medical and dental and PTO, which is now required? Even in my own business, we just hired a new HR company. We're going through some changes, and the laws that have come about recently are going to cost me another 20, 30% more in payroll. Just there you go. And we have to see ourselves as professionals first before we can become professionals.
I think for me, contextually, the word professionalism, it's a subjective term. It's a subjective meaning that individuals will give it. And I really believe from a place of context that professionalism really boils down to how connected to your why are you? And what's the why of you owning a shop? What's the why of you being a professional tech? Let alone, you don't even own the business, but are you a professional tech or are you the proverbial monkey wrench? What's your level of professionalism you're going to give? And I think a lot of that determines on where you're headed, why are you here on this planet, where are you going, what are you doing? And challenge yourself. Do I want to operate not better than anybody else, but do I want to be a level 10 for me? Do I want to be a level 10 because that's how I choose to show up in life? And not from a place of perfectionism, but from a place of excellence. And I think contextually that when we are intentional in our professionalism, it will come out. My experience of a lot of shop owners, and I was partly here, is that I have what I called circumstantial professionalism. My circumstance dictates my professionalism, AKA I can only afford this much. And I can only afford this much because based on history, because we're driven by history, I'm driven by history of self-worth and value. Self-worth and value, I've yet to see it not elevated when somebody looks at their purpose. When they look at their purpose and they start understanding, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Then two questions come up. That's my purpose. And at a level 10, if I don't operate at a level 10, what does my life look like? What could my life look like at a level 10? Level 10 professionalism in a shop as a technician, as an advisor, owner, manager, from a place of looks and appearance of the business, my logo, my branding, how I interact, my culture, everything. And I think when we connect with our purpose, which sometimes is not the easy journey for a lot of us guys, because you know what? We're tangible. Give me a mechanism. Give me a how-to. Give me a 9/16 wrench. Give me something that I can put in my hand and go do something. Professionalism is actually a state of being and not what you do. And when you really come to understand that your beingness and how you show up, are you even choosing to show up as a professional? You know, jokingly before it started, I jokingly said, one man's professional is another man's pigsty. You know, in reality, how many shops do you actually go out and seek out shops that are better than you, that are more professional than you, that maybe you opens up your eyes to what professionalism could be? Cecil had a great point. We have no regulations in our industry to have an auto repair business. Are you part of an association? Do you schedule 10, 20 grand worth of training for your techs? Do you schedule 10, 20 grand of training for your advisors and managers? And in that training, are you doing personal development things that help you get closer to your why?
You cannot stay in the medical profession, the dental profession, the law profession without a certain amount of hours of training every single year, period. And today, with the sophistication of the automobile and the changes and the rapid changes in computerization and controls and emissions and et cetera, how can we stay up with that when half the shops out there are not even making enough money to survive, frankly, in a, well, Cecil, I'm fine. I make plenty. And then send your kids to a good college. And I'm not saying that that's the ticket, but if I can't invest, $50,000 in each of my children for their education, then I'm not making the money I need to make. If I can't live in a home that is paid for and I'm not worried about making the payments every month, then I'm not able to be the person that I want to be. If you study Maslow, you study psychology, if they're thinking about how am I going to pay for the food and the shelter, they can't think about God and the universe and other things. It blows my mind. And what's going to kill me more is that someone's going to make a comment about this, that Cecil, he's about his money, or we're just fine as an industry. No, we're not. Things are changing. They're changing rapidly. If you don't get on the bandwagon and we don't get there, we're going to lose a lot of guys in this industry. And there's a lot of guys hitting 65 and 70 who don't have enough money sitting in the bank to take care of themselves for the rest of their lives because they're in this industry and because they didn't do what needed to be done when they had the time to do what needed to be done.
Having a level 10 requires you to be around people who are better than you and then grow into that. And Dave, the way I see it is you're going to consistently move your level 10 up the more you're around people of a higher level of excellence. You're going to see the attitude, you're going to see the speech, you're going to see the dress, all being professional. As they elevate themselves, as a shop owner moves to go and says, I can only hit this level 10. This is as far as I can go right now. That's okay. Because when they hit that, they're going to get around people who are a little bit better than that. And they're going to continue to strive and move up. And then what they're going to do is they're going to bring their people along. And they're going to bring their industry along. They're going to bring all the people in it. And ultimately, what this comes down to is we are here for the motoring public and what we can do for them. And the bottom line is this, like tying to what you said, Cecil, we've got to make a profit to sustain ourselves, to sustain our business, to be there for our community and have a part in growing the people of our community and giving back to the people who have given to us and making the impact as a business.
One thing you said there, Vic, was so profound. The industry, we're here to serve really the consumer, the end user. And if you think about it, this is kind of a doorway step I get into that leads to a larger discussion of why with clients. And I start from their customers. Because most shop owners, I love my customers. They're faithful, they're loyal, So I asked the question, do your customers want the best technician or the worst technician or average technician? Do they want the best equipment or the worst equipment? Do they want the best training or the worst training? Your customers demand the level 12. Your level of professionalism is a customer demand. It's not a business model. And when you really think about it, the most moral, ethical thing you can do for your customers is to be profitable. So you will be there to take care of them with your heart of service. If you tell me you have a heart of service and you're not profitable, you don't have a heart of service. You don't understand the fullness of service. Can I be there? Can I offer a 336? Or I got some shops now that are heading towards 4 years, 48,000 miles. Do the math. It's your warranty dollars become your marketing dollars. It's just a shift of thinking in that.
I think you have to turn it around and you have to say, we're here to service ourselves. I'm sorry to put it that way, but if I'm not in a good position mentally, physically, financially, I cannot take care of my family. Absolutely. I cannot take care of my employees, and I cannot take care of my clients. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to service ourselves. I can't teach if I don't learn. You might say, oh, well, wait a minute, Cecil, haven't you learned it all? No, I haven't learned it all. Mm-hmm. And the day that I learn it all, that's the day that you guys need to bury me because I'm going to be done. I have to invest in myself. I have to invest in my business in order to take care of my clients and help them. I can't teach them how to be a level 10 or how to be a professional business if I don't know what that is, if I haven't experienced that. And, I agree. I think, Dave, you said this, that, my level 10 is changing. My level 10 is always changing. I hope it continues to change because then I'll see things for myself that I need to know and that I need to go after and I need to do so that I can help other people come along. I can pull them up. You can't be down at the bottom and pull people up. So I think we have to serve ourselves and our businesses and our employees. When people come to me and they say, I actually had a client that we let go recently. The client and the employee, the person that works for our company, that wasn't working. The client came to me and they said, well, the employee, blah, 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 blah. Now, this particular employee works with lots of my clients and doesn't have complaints, loves the clients, works hard for the clients, etc. And so I had to look at that and go, well, wait a minute. Is it the client the most important or is the employee the most important? In my world, I'm sorry, but the employee is the most important. And if that employee had been, if it was like it's the fourth person that's come and talked to me, okay, then now I got a problem. What I'm trying to say is, we have to take care of our employees and our business so that we have the ability to take care of our clients.
Cecil, I totally agree with you. And when we're talking to our clients, we put it like this. Your shop is a living, breathing entity. You have to take care of that shop, and anything that threatens it, you have to take care of. You have to insert in the foundation, which is you, is taken care of. The shop is taken care of before you can properly serve your clients. It's like a FedEx driver showed up at the shop and had a box of snakes. Would you sign for it? No, you wouldn't. You need to do the same thing. You need to not sign for that problem. You need to eradicate the problems. You need to deal with those as quickly as possible. That's the only way that you can serve your team and then serve your clients well by taking care of yourself. And I 100% agree with that.
It has to be in the best interest of the team because it's the team that's going to take care of the clients.
Yeah.
Let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax was built from the ground up to make your business more profitable and efficient. We provide an extensive set of tools to increase and track profitability in real time. NAPA Trax offers the industry's best post-sale support, hands down, and we train your people on site. Yep, on site. And we offer remote refresher training 10 times a week, and customer support is open 6 days a week. Give us a call, visit the website, or join our Facebook community today to learn more. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. NAPA Trax is always customized and tailored for you, whether you're a one-man shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice. Visit us on the web at NAPATRACS, that's NAPATRACS.com. Auto shop owners, imagine investing in a change that transforms your business and multiplies your net profit. Yeah, you heard right. AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching isn't just another cookie-cutter coaching company. With us, it's about real results. On average, our clients see a staggering 9 times return on their investment in net profit. Now, that's just not growth. That's a revolution in how your shop operates and thrives. AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching doesn't just guide you to the next level. They help launch you there. They turn potential into profitability through expert coaching in operations, financial management, customer engagement, and productivity. Dare to dream bigger at autoshopcoaching.com. AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, where your success is our greatest return. Hey, Carm here, suggesting you discover a smarter way to train your entire automotive team. Experience powerful, bite-sized training sessions accessible from any device in just 5 minutes daily. It's perfect for technicians, advisors, and managers alike. Today's class prepares your shop for sustained success by reinforcing crucial knowledge. Plus, add a competitive edge with our leaderboard to make learning fun and rewarding for everyone. For effective training that delivers, turn to todaysclass.com. Maybe a way to sell this and get this down inside of our industry is every time we come up, let's do a labor rate thing, so we throw in all of our costs and we build our labor rate up. Maybe each of you have a different way that you go about it. And when I heard you all talk, I said, let's build it from our people down. And it's just a little different thought on how to say, listen, let's start with your people first. What are we paying them? What do we have to pay them? What are the rules? What are the laws? What are the benefits? What do we need to do for our people? Now that we've got that as the premise of everything we're going to do to find out if our labor rate is right for the profitability that we're looking for, it all starts with your people. Instead of coming up from the expenses, even though people are our expenses, maybe putting them on top.
But you have to understand the expenses. You have to understand. A lot of guys got in this business in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and maybe even today with absolutely no business knowledge. I know how to fix cars, and I'm good at fixing cars, and I'm tired of having my boss keep all the money and make all the profits, and I'm tired of having somebody tell me where to be and when to be. And so now I'm going to start my own company. But when you decide that you're going to start your own company, you have other responsibilities. You need to figure out what that really means. Because if you come into this industry, I've been teaching a long time. These guys that come into classes every once in a while, and he's like, I'm really tired of shop owners ripping off customers. So, I'm going to charge $90 an hour because that's all I need. And I'm not going to charge for parts, and I'm going to let customers bring their own parts and blah, blah, blah. I had a guy come into class, 10, 15 years ago, pop that off. And I looked at him and I said, well, I'll give you a year, right? Congratulations, right? And the guy was in business for about 13 months and he closed up because he didn't really understand what his real costs were. He didn't really understand all the liability. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if shop owners really understood their real liability, they'd all freak out. They'd go home, curl up in the ball, cry in the corner and put their thumb in their mouth. The liability we have, we're working on these machines that are 2 tons, 3 tons, 5 tons that drive around at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour that can kill people. We don't even understand the liability that we have.
The litigious nature of the society, too. I read an article, and we're talking 20 years ago in Motor Age. The shop owner was presented with a brake job. The rotors were undersized. And the shop owner was talked into just resurfacing the rotors.
Just put a set of pads on it. Come on, it's okay.
And he did resurface the rotors. So what happened? 3 months later, the guy's daughter was driving the vehicle. The vehicle got into an accident and she died. Investigators came in and the only thing they found wrong with the vehicle were the rotors were undersized. Guess who got nailed with a $3 million lawsuit? And he got put out of business because he didn't follow proper business nor safety protocols. And you're right. The liability in this industry is far greater than anyone imagines. And if you think If it's not, you're sticking your head in the sand.
I'm going to jump in right now and tell you I had a discussion, a podcast. We did a podcast at Apex with Dave Johnson from ASE, Scott Brown, Matt Fonslow. And one of the subjects that came up was this article that was written on an insurance company denying a claim from a shop that didn't have any ASE certified technology specialists, mechanical specialists on staff. They said, can't do it. No one heard of this before. I think it's real. It's profound. And we're talking about it. It releases Friday, the 13th of December. You got to listen to it because it goes back to the whole doctoring certifications. And I think that's so important for us to think about. Goes back to moving from a repair shop to a professional top service center. There are things you've got to do along the way. One of them is, to your point, Cecil, is your people. What do I got to pay my people? Now that goes into my cost bucket as a lift up to find the labor rate that's going to make me my 20% net. And all the stuff that a great business expert, one of these three guys, come on and take you to new heights you've never seen before, which is why they're here, which is why I love coaching. But the people that may decide, I got to do coaching in 2025, I got to do it. Maybe this is the episode that moves you to hear these coaches tell their stories of what's blocking people from finding that new, level of their business. How do they run a more efficient business? How do they find the time to get it all done? You all help them with this. If not, goes back to the energy thing we talked about in the beginning, Dave. At the end of the day, I have no energy to get it done because I have no other accountability partner but me and how hard I work turning wrenches, and I cannot really run my business the right way.
We have, 70% productivity in our industry. We have a shortage of technicians. And at the same time, I think it's generational, and I hate to blame all generations or anything, but we have people in the workforce or coming into the workforce that because of the situation, maybe it's because there aren't enough techs or whatever, we feel like, and I say we because I'm part of the industry, we can't manage them. We can't create expectations for them because they won't stay in my business working for me while we're producing 70%, while costs are going up and businesses are not surviving financially. We have this other influences that are coming into our industry. Do you think now's an important time to figure out how to manage people and how to motivate people and how to have enough money to understand and learn and hire people that can help me to do those things? Or should we just do business like we've always done it? And I will tell you right now, the whole professional thing, I know a lot of guys in this industry that are amazing professionals that work at a level 10 all the time and push for a level 10 all the time. But it is not the majority of the industry. That's the minority of the industry. And we need the majority of the industry working. Think about the government at some point stepping in because there'll be lawsuits. So the insurance company will say, we're not going to pay you. We're not going to authorize this repair because you don't have a certified person. Well, what's certification mean? What is ASC certification, by the way, anyway? What power does it have in our industry? And think about the government, because of lawsuits, the insurance companies not wanting to pay or not paying, stepping in and saying, this is what we're going to tell you this means in your industry, as opposed to us being able to tell the government and the rest of the world that this is who we are and this is what we believe to be the best in our industry. It's going to happen at some point. We better be ready for it.
It would be a crime that the government has to come in and demand credentialing for our technology mechanical specialists who work in our bays, and we finally take it serious.
I may be dead and gone, but I can guarantee you that there will be a point in the near future that that some technician works on a car with no certification at all, does something wrong, that car goes out and kills somebody. And because of the controls on the car, either self-driving or assisted driving or whatever else, the government is going to end up stepping in and saying, you cannot work in this industry unless you are X, Y, and Z. I guarantee that's going to happen.
It happened with the airline industry, with pilots and stuff. That's government controlled with that. And I think for me, Carm, you said a very important question is what's in the way? And I think the questions do better than just answers sometimes because they lead us to self-discovery. And a lot of what Cecil's talked about and Vic talked about is one of the number one things that's in the way in the thinking in our business is we settle. We settle for a 6 or 7. I can't put pressure on that tech because techs are shortage. They'll walk, they'll leave, or advisors. I can't put that kind of pressure on them. I can't create the culture I want because my people would leave. And we start settling. We start having this fear-based settling with it. And I think professionalism doesn't have settling in its thinking. It just doesn't. Professionalism also looks at different things. And I think, I love the call to action that Cecil gives. We've got to be better business people. And I think for so many people, they come and kind of along what you said about labor rates. What do I have to pay? What's the expenses? Instead of going from expense up, the problem with expenses, we typically look at expense as an expense. When does an expense no longer become an expense? And here's just my benchmark. When clients get to 25% net profit, and I'll talk about an element of what I think techs and advisors should be making here in a little bit. But when you get to 25%, those are no longer expenses. Those are ROIs. They're ROIs. They're investments in your business. If you look at any one expense as a burden load, you're not looking at it from a place of entrepreneurial. What's it going to gain me to spend this? When I'm doing uniforms, I have a certain amount of budget right now, and I can afford this level of uniforms. But I'm going to put a date on it when I want to get to my level 10 uniforms. My floors look this way, and I can afford it now. And I'm going to put a date on it when I get to here. Now I know my goal. I know my date. I know what it's going to cost me. And now I can go drive the business and be proactive in it. Having the viewpoint that expenses are expenses is a burden load. And language, even in our industry, I'm working on myself on this and have been for a long time. I have to versus I get to. Have to is a burden load. From a religiosity, it's kind of the law that you're under. Where I get to is a freedom statement. It's an intentional statement. It's nothing's going to hold me back statement versus a have to is now I'm boxed in. So listeners, as you're listening to yourself, how many times you say, well, I have to pay him this. I have to pay him that. I had one shop owner who I thought was a fairly good shop owner. I don't know if I call him a level 10, but he's a fairly good shop owner. And we're having a conversation and he's got some turnover. And in the more conversation, he was not a full-on client. It's just a casual through an association. And he says, well, Dave, as I start talking about abundance and rest, he goes, and it totally went against his thinking. And how do I know that? Because this came out. Well, Dave, it's my responsibility and my duty to pay the techs as least as possible. And I went, oh my gosh. I said, you know what? There's a reason why we can't work together. You're going to hold that. I can't move that. That's your choice. You got to let go of that, or your shop will always have what you've always done. You'll always get what you've always gotten.
That physically hurts me to hear something like that.
Doesn't it? I almost wanted to puke when I heard that.
So think about this. When you understand people and motivating people, people want to be managed. People want to grow. People want to have growth. They want to have growth opportunities. All of the highest performing people in our industry want those things, and they want a shop that runs well and professionally. So when you start saying to yourself, okay, I don't need a coach or whatever, what's the real problem? The problem is ignorance. You don't know what you don't know. And is ignorance really bliss, or is ignorance holding you back, right? Some of us, I know that's a harsh word to say, ignorance, but we're all ignorant in different ways, in different things. I want to know everything that I can know, so I will have all of the opportunities that I can and should have. And I can bring those opportunities to my people and to my clients, all of them. And so we can't sit back and go, okay, well, this is good enough. It amazes me that we can't keep technicians, or we can't manage technicians, or we can't get productivity, but we also are not doing the things that would make that happen in our businesses. In many cases, because we either fear that or we don't know it, or both. And we fear what we don't know.
Without help, could an average automotive repair center that isn't in the vernacular professional, could they get there on their own?
I'm going to tell you no, because and help comes in different ways. All right. So help isn't always, I hired a coach. Help can be a mentor. Help can be a podcast. Help can be a webinar that I attended. Help can be, I read a book. Help can be, I have a friend who's really sharp or smart in this area. Help comes from a lot of different. So without education, without knowledge, I would tell you, you're absolutely stuck because you don't know what you don't know. And that's the killer. And so, yeah, you need help. Now, the thing is, if you're driving, so before this thing started, I said, we have kind of two types of people in our industry right at the moment. I have older clients that are really driven, right? And then I have younger clients that are really driven. Well, the younger clients, they have this energy and they have this thirst. They want to know all this stuff that the older guys know that are successful. And so I see these younger guys and I'm like, oh my God, this is so great for our industry. These guys are amazing. And when I say guys, I mean men and women. I'm not being misogynistic here. It's just, I'm an old guy and that's the word I use for a long time. When I see these young people come in with this energy and this thirst for, I want to know what they're doing. I want to know all this stuff. You can either say to yourself, well, I can figure all that out. I get news for you though. If I hadn't had worked with Bob O'Connor and Jim Hunt and Mike Lee and half the guys that are on your podcast, if I didn't know those people and I didn't pick their brains regularly and I didn't have the mentors that I have and I didn't have the books that I've read and I didn't watch the podcast, I would never be anywhere near where I'm at. I'm not smart enough. You need help. The question is, where are you going to get it?
That's the humble discussion to have with a new client or a client who isn't getting it, to let them realize that you're in a perpetual learning curve yourself, and coming on board with a coaching organization, hiring an expert, puts them in almost a completely different realm of life. I mean, they're in this perpetual, continuous education mode, but it needs to show, I think maybe to your point, David, about ROI, we need to be discovering these quarterly return on your investments. You're paying for this help. You're getting this learned knowledge. You have to put it into play, and we need to see some results from it. If not, you're all wasting each other's time. And I guess, wouldn't it be interesting, and maybe I don't know that this goes on because I've never seen a coaching contract. What if the coaching contract says at the end of this thing, and it may never come, I'm going to be a professional automotive certain level, and you guys all have level 1 through 10, because you can be a professional at all different levels and you keep working up toward that. Profitability, what you're paying, the marketing, car counts, ARO, and all those things apply into all the different needs and necessities of each client. I'm just brainstorming here.
I have talked to 3 universities now, colleges, about an automotive business degree, a real degree that held real weight. When you go to college, I got 2 degrees, which, by the way, I learned to learn at college. That's the only thing, the other stuff I didn't know. So I don't hold myself up because I've got college degrees, but other people do. I've talked to 3 different universities about a real business college degree. When you go to college, you don't just take, I'm going to learn how to create productivity, or I'm going to learn how a shop is financially successful. You take other things because you need a broad, rounded education so that you can understand more. And so we need a real degree. And I don't want to talk bad about anybody that's out there now educating or saying, here you go, here's a certification. But really, what do our certifications mean? They don't mean much because the industry, the public, don't see that as meaning much. And I don't know if that's because we don't see it that way ourselves, and therefore we can't create that within the public, or because we've never thought of ourselves as this quote unquote professional profession. The whole episode is about, do I want to be a professional shop? Well, a professional shop is growing, learning, moving all the time. You're not sitting still. Good is not good enough. You're always, the level 10 is, if I hit level 10 today, where's my next level 10?
Mm-hmm.
What else am I going to know? I don't know. That's one of the things when I'm interviewing, that's one of the things I'm looking for in people. And I don't just interview for employees here. We also interview our potential clients. And we terminate clients. I terminated one this morning that's done nothing in 4 months. Why are you paying me? And why am I spending my time if you're not moving and doing the things that we're talking about?
Why do they even sign up?
I think because they have an anticipation that this is going to be simple if they knew the right things. And you know what? And life and business are a lot alike. You're going to have ups and downs no matter what. Your business is going to have challenges no matter what. You're going to have that great employee whose dad died. It hit him so hard that he started drinking, and now he's not a great employee anymore, but you thought he was always going to be there. You're going to have the employee who has a parent pass away and leave them a bunch of money, and so they decide they don't want to do this anymore, and they walk away, and you thought they were always going to be here. Business and life, it's full of ups and downs. When you're in the ups, that's the preparing for the down, so I can be back in the up.
Vic, a question to you about what Cecil's talking about. The burden is too big. 4 months later, they're not getting it done. They just didn't necessarily think of how much work that they had to do. How do we convince the client that the burden is heavy? And that's the premise of this entire episode. It's the burden of going from a marginal repair shop to a professional one. And are you up to it?
I think a lot of it comes down to, how do you view life? How do you view money? How do you view yourself? When we're interviewing clients, we ask about their dreams or goals. What is ahead? What is it that's driving you? Because the things that are driving you or pulling you along will pull you through that really tough growth period. It's sometimes growth is extremely painful, having gone through it multiple times over the years and continuing to go through it. When you stretch, it hurts sometimes. But if you know that there's a goal up ahead that ties into who you are and what you value, it will pull you through that and makes the pain worth it. Humility is another key component of it. None of us have all the answers. They don't have all the answers. We all have an element of bravado. Every single one of us do. But the real magic happens when we drop our bravado and we get humble and say, I need help. I need help is not there's something wrong with you. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I went through this in my first 15 years of business. I felt guilty for taking advantage of people because their cars were broken. And what came down to was the heart of what I felt money was about. I felt money was, I didn't value it like I do today. I didn't look at it.
You weren't running a business, Vic. You were running a hobby.
Yeah, you're right. I was. But you have people that will push you and go, well, that's a lot of money. Like, well, then you don't have the fortitude to go, well, yeah, it is. And there's a reason for it. What comes down to is there's an honor to being a business owner. There's an honor to being an independent repair center, a service center that goes from being a repair shop to a professional. It takes that shift in mindset a lot of times, which is why these guys have no problem giving discounts, because they don't value what they do.
Would it be worth it, gentlemen, if we did an episode on answering this question? How come it's so much money?
Yeah, absolutely. Love that.
Wouldn't it be worth it? Because in my mind, we almost don't want to be proud of our investment in our people and technology and continuous education and building and payroll. And so we succumb.
The episode might be titled, How Come It's So Little and Not So Much?
Yeah.
Because right now it's a lot less than it probably should be, with the inflation that we've just had, with the education and the fact that a lot more is being demanded of us from our employees financially and from our government financially, etc. How come it's so little? It should be more expensive than it currently is. And you're right, Carm, we have to build value for our clients. And I think part of saying I want to be a professional organization When we bought Arlo Training, people in the industry looked at us differently. We weren't any different than we were before, the day before. But after, they said, oh, these guys are of a certain size now. They're more professional, or they're whatever. And we got looked at differently. The biggest thing that happened when we made that shift was that we were seen differently by the public. Maybe we were seen differently by ourselves. I don't know. I don't think so. But I think that's kind of a part or a piece of it as a business owner. How do I see myself, and how do I see what I'm contributing for my clients? Do I understand that? My dad always told me I had an exaggerated sense of my own self-worth, because I would ask him for raises and I needed more money and they should be worth more and I should get paid more and et cetera. I think that we all should have an exaggerated sense of our self-worth, because in this industry, we go the opposite of what our value is. We don't understand our value to our clients. There was, I won't mention his name, but an old guy that just sold his shop was arguing online with one of my people about, he made a comment that we're the advocate for the car. And he's saying, well, a car's just an inanimate object. You're not the advocate. Whatever the client wants to do. Well, no, wait a minute. We are the advocate for the car. The client is hiring us to help them understand the car and what the car needs and why it needs that. And we have to build value there for our clients so they understand why they're not putting undersized rotors on their car. So they understand that a brake job is done a certain way on purpose because it guarantees the longevity and the use of those brakes and the safety of the people in the car. And we don't even believe that in many cases. We have techs that are doing jobs that consultants have recommended or the owner has recommended that don't even believe that that job needs to be done or should be done on the car. If I don't believe in it, I can't get behind it 100%. Should we be a professional? Should automotive businesses be professional? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, that we should be, and we should be seen that way, then the very first thing that needs to happen is we need to see ourselves that way. Because if we don't see ourselves that way, we cannot become that and we cannot act in that fashion.
I think to simplify, we talked so many great talking points. And I think for me, as I look at a business model, automotive, plumbing, electrical, doesn't matter. But in our industry specifically, I think we look at employees from a place of wage. I think an abundance thing is that, you know what? I'm working for the shops I work with that techs and advisors make 150, 200 grand a year because that's the professional level. That's the abundance thinking. And in reality, if you really reduce it to the ridiculous, there's only two business models in our industry. There's a professional business model and there's a codependency business model. One's going to see opportunity that Vic talked about. Every opportunity, where's the opportunity of this moment? A professional mindset will always see opportunity. A codependence will only see scarcity, expense, cost, burden, have to. I'm doing just enough to get by. I'm doing just enough so my employees don't leave, just enough so my customers don't leave. I'm paying, and then guess what? Guess what I hire in my culture? People doing just enough to not get fired, just enough and there's just enough culture that we created. And then we point a finger at somebody else. Well, they're gouging people. No, you're ripping people off by not being profitable.
There's some great research on abundance thinking and on scarcity thinking that has been done. When people are thinking in a scarcity mode, they make poor decisions, period. And when people are thinking in an abundance mode, they make better decisions, period. That's what all the research shows. And so I think maybe as a business owner, you got to ask yourself, what am I thinking? Am I thinking in a scarcity mode or am I thinking in an abundance mode? Abundance makes much better decisions. And I agree, Dave. I think this industry, there's two models. There's the professional model and there's the scarcity model. Unfortunately, the difference that's going to happen in this industry as we grow and as the industry changes and as outside money comes in and, tries to buy up our industry and consolidate and all of that is going to be the kind of service that your people give to your clients. If you give great service and do a great job, you are going to be successful. And the rest aren't going to be able to give great service because they don't hire the right people. Those people are not in the right frame of mind. They're in a scarcity frame of mind, and they're not going to make the best decisions. Yeah. They're going to help your clients.
100%.
That whole topic, scarcity abundance mindset, might be a topic in and of itself. Here's what sounds like a logical, reasonable scarcity mindset. When I hear this phrase, and I used to say it back when I was in the dealership and have my own shop, when I would say this phrase, I didn't realize how much I hated the phrase, but even though I used it, well, I just need to be fair market value. That is justification of a fear mindset, of a scarcity mindset. And get this, I'm going to give hope to every shop owner, tech, and advisor here. Believe it or not, you're only one decision away from stepping into abundance. It's only one decision. It's not a whole bunch of decisions. It's one decision. What you want to ask yourself is, choose this day who you're going to serve. Are you going to serve abundance? Are you going to serve scarcity? I'm not talking, don't read greed into abundance. I'm talking about fulfillment, level 10, purpose, coming alive, just thriving and not just barely surviving. You're only one decision away from stepping into abundance.
Okay, I promise you that we'll have an episode with you guys on scarcity and abundance mindset. We have to do it. I think it's very profound, and I think there's a lot of our listeners that will listen to this and, is he talking about me? I want to go around the room real quick, just 30 seconds worth, and I want to ask you all about this incredible shortage that we have in technicians. And I want you to tell me, is it the people that are in the middle row, the unprofessional, just quote, quote, repair shop, or your top people? Are the top people short people? Or is it everyone else kind of in the middle? Dave?
I think it's going to be everybody has a responsibility to making our industry look attractive. The top 2% that are that level 10 are always improving their level 10. I believe they have a responsibility in our industry to go to the middle seat, the lower seats, and through association, wherever that looks like. I believe middle seat are the lukewarm. They're not hot. They're not cold. They're the people that can shift and change really easy into abundance thinking. The bottom level is because it's like Cecil, they don't know what they don't know. If we have a sense of knowledge, if we have a sense that would serve somebody, and we don't reach out and serve our own industry, we're not serving our customers at the highest level. We're not serving our employees at the highest level. If you have some wisdom and knowledge that you can pass on, if you're harboring it, holding it in, that's scarcity thinking.
Thank you, Dave. Vic, people at the top are shorthanded people or near the bottom?
People at the top are looking to upgrade. The ones that are on the fringes are having difficulty. They're getting the bottom of the barrel. The shift in that changes with a couple of things. They got to ask themselves a couple of questions. Do you own a job or do you own a business? Do you want to develop something that you can sell to a family, friend, to somebody else down the road? Or is it just fixing cars? Is it just, your vision just past the next car that shows up? Those are the ones that are struggling. Can they make the change? Absolutely. They just have to change the way they're thinking. Step into, like Dave said, abundance thinking.
Thank you, Vic. Cecil, last word. What's going on? Top shops shorthanded?
Our top shops that are building quality teams are not having trouble finding and attracting quality people. Shops that are not building teams and quality teams and are struggling because they're just struggling. The ads they're running, the way they interview, the whole thing is not working the way it needs to work. And yes, we do have a shortage of quality technicians, but the top shops that we have in my company, they're not struggling to fill those positions, but they're paying more. They have more benefits. There's more reason come to work for them and to be a part of a team. I think it depends on your approach from the beginning. And I would say that there's an abundance approach and a scarcity approach. The guys that are at the right place, able to pay well and do what they need to attract good people are getting those good people. Those good people are leaving other shops that they're not feeling that same way about. to get positions in companies that are helping them move themselves forward and grow themselves.
Top shops are investing in their people in all areas, from tools and continuing education and benefits. Hey, this was fun. Moving from a repair shop to a professional auto service center. We could have gone on for 4 hours, and we could have gotten, this was a Starbucks coffee clutch discussion. It really was. And it doesn't do us justice to spend an hour talking about this, but let's do this again. Thank you so much, Cecil Bullard from the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence. The summit's coming up early February, right, Cecil?
Yes, sir. We'd love to see you there. If you haven't booked a ticket, there's still a few left.
Yeah, there's still a few left. We are theinstitute.com. Dave Schedin, CompuTrek Automotive Solutions, and Vic Tarasik, shop owner coach. Hey, guys, thank you so much for being here.
Good to be here.
Thank you for the opportunity, Harm.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.